Hello, can you hear me? One second, almost ready. Crap. I think the stream is haunted already. Ow. Welcome to Nathan's Narrations with me, Nathan, as I do narrations. Let me make sure this is working right. Can you guys see me? I'm gonna keep the chat open. Oh, hello. Pretty nice suit, huh? Figured I'd dress up for the ghosts. This is one of the rare times I've ever put a suit on my body. I'm going to try extremely hard to take this very seriously, because this is a very serious matter. Something very spooky that happens in real life. I've experienced ghostly activities in my own home back in Massachusetts with my mom and dad. So today I will be reading, let's see. Boo. Did that switch? The camera working? I'm operating the camera on my own with my phone in my hand as I'm watching this stream. It's just like a lot to do right now. This is pretty hard. Can you hear me? How's the audio? You're looking more of a hunk than ever. This is my spooky ghost outfit. I'm not supposed to look good. I'm supposed to look spooky. I don't look spooky? Okay, great. Here we go. So today, I don't even know what the shot is. I can't. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's the wide shot. We're on the wide shot. I'm seeing the stream. Oh no, it's on the tight shot. Hello, camera 2. Gosh, I'm doing everything. This is blowing my mind. Okay, and now we shall do this. Back to the wide. So today we're reading Nantucket Ghost Stories, 44 True Accounts by Blue Ballier, I think is how you say it. Author of the New York Times bestseller Chasing Vermeer and The Right Three. Those don't sound spooky to me, but this one sure is. I've heard a bunch of these some of these stories growing up on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Nantucket is the island off of Cape Cod, off of the coast of Massachusetts. And I heard about a bunch of these, and I was just reading some of them, and I was like, oh, I heard this one, and some of them are pretty spooky. There's pictures in here, but the pictures aren't really great. They're not really scary. They don't really have anything to do with the pictures. With the stories. So let's just start, shall we? I love ghosts and ghost stories, so I figured I'm going to do a ghost show. Why not? Mix it up a little bit. I hope you guys enjoy it. Is this camera switching or what? There we go. Boo. Hello, everyone. Okay, so let's begin. I'll join the chat after I do read a bunch of stories. So let me do a little intro for when this isn't live. So much in my brain to think about. And I get scared real easy, so hopefully I can actually read these stories. Alright. Welcome to Nathan's Narrations, a show where I read real ghost stories and try not to lose my mind in the process. I will hopefully make it through this and actually be able to read while being scared and operating the cameras all on my own and not burning down the house with these live candles. And look at a lanterne. What are these called? What's a flame canteen? A canteen does water, and a lantern. Wow, I'm dumb. I think there's a ghost in my brain thinking for me, because normally I'm much smarter than this. All right, let's begin. This is a little intro about Nantucket. If you don't know much about Nantucket, it's an island off of Massachusetts. Nantucket Island has just over one. I can't already screw it up. Can't read numbers. Nantucket. Let's take this very seriously. Okay, I don't know what camera is on. I'm just gonna keep looking around because I don't know what camera we're on. Nantucket Island has just over 10,000 year-round residents and a sizable population of ghosts. The 44 stories in this book were collected as oral history over a 15-year period and originally published in 2 volumes, The Ghosts Nantucket, 1984, and Nantucket Hauntings, 1990. Those are the 2 books that this book makes up. But I guess if you hear words, you can understand them. I don't need to explain this. These interviews are direct, unembellished accounts, experiences related to me in living rooms, on back porches, sometimes outside, so as not to be heard by the house itself. Oh, that's freaky. In recording these tales, I tried not to believe or disbelieve, but simply to get out of the way. Among those who speak are a janitor, an electrician, a museum curator, 2 architects, a carpenter, a writer, a marine biologist, a chef, a nurse, a jeweler, several guest house owners, a taxi driver, a real estate agent, a teacher, a hairdresser. Oh my god, great. Yeah, a bunch of people. The youngest is 7 and the oldest is 93. Some of the names have been changed as a request. Okay, I'm just going to skip through this. This is kind of boring. This is just the intro about Nantucket. The last paragraph says, you know what? Who cares? That's boring. Let's just get to the freaking ghost stories. So, start off with an easy one. It's not too spooky. I didn't read all these. I've done a little bit of reading. Let's do this. This one is called Something Evil in the Attic. Ooh. The house is on Cliff Road. I don't feel you should use our name, but I'll tell you the story. My husband and I bought the house in 1960. It wasn't old. It was built in the 20s. Sounds pretty old to me. It's 40 years old. Pretty old. It was built in the 20s and had been owned by only one family. The man who built it and lived there for all those years was no longer alive when we bought it. But we don't know of anything terrible ever happening in the place. It's very hard for me to read out loud, so please bear with me as I read like a grade schooler. It all began with something our 10-year-old daughter, Janet, either imagined or saw. Her bedroom was upstairs, opposite the door to the attic. The children spent hours playing in the attic. It was their territory, a place where they set up forts and clubs and arranged things the way they wanted them. Janet was a little afraid of that door at night. She was a sensitive, imaginative child who had awful nightmares for years and was very scared of the dark. She had outgrown most of those fears by the time she was 9 or 10, but if anyone were to be scared by a ghost, it would certainly be she. Me too. Bald 37-year-olds get pretty scared just reading these words. Lost my place. As she tells it, she was reading in bed one night and looked up to see the attic door, which was always closed at bedtime, wide open. Oh, baby. A shimmering, insubstantial figure of a man was standing in the doorway. Janet was petrified and must have looked it. She says she isn't too clear about what happened next, but the figure communicated to her, either silently or in words. Please don't worry, don't be scared. I don't mind if you can't look at me. The apparition calmed Janet by letting her know that he wasn't bad and wasn't going to hurt her. He told her that his name was George. I gather they sort of made friends. Ooh. Now, Janet is the first to say that she may very well have imagined this entire experience. She wasn't asleep, however, and remembers the feelings of George's presence, the feeling of losing her fear of him and realizing he was a kind person. George, incidentally, was not the name of the man who had owned the house before us. So this is a rogue ghost sniffing around their house. She may have told the other children about this strange man the next day, but she didn't mention him to me or her father for some time. When she did, it came up casually in a conversation as something curious that she had seen one night. She was no longer spooked by him at all. That was the only time she saw the apparition. About 4 years later, we had a bad fire in the attic. One of the children had left the light burning too close to the wall, and the dry wood went up in flames. Fortunately, we were home at the time, and the damage was minimal compared to what it might have been. After the fire, the attic needed extensive repair work, and my husband and I decided to turn it into a master bedroom. The children didn't mind, for they had more or less outgrown it as a play space. We fixed it up and began using it ourselves. That was when the trouble began. Dun 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 dun. Oh, this is where it gets juicy. Now I'm going to check in with you guys and make sure everything's running smoothly. Are you guys there? Let me know how it's looking and sounding. I ain't even seen this episode. Rainbow Elsa Live Our Burn looks a lot different. He sure does. He hasn't been in the sun for a while. Your lips not going with voice. I have it kind of dark in here on purpose, but is it like too dark? It looks kind of good to me on my phone. Yeah, I definitely need some mods. Hello, Aaron. I'm reading a spooky story. You guys enjoying this? Should I continue? Well, I'm going to continue anyways. Okay, so it's on the tight angle right now. Alright, cool. Here we go. I'm going to continue. This is where it starts to get juicy. For those of you who are just joining me, this is the first time I've ever done this. This is my ghost show where I read true ghost stories. I love ghosts, and I love ghost stories, so I'm sharing some with you. The book we're reading is Nantucket Ghosts. It's a bunch of short stories about real-life ghost encounters. I'm 37, Amy. You can hear the birds. This mic's pretty good if you can hear the birds outside. Jeez Louise. Those are ghost birds that you're hearing. Alright, cool. Thanks to Poke Boss. Getting back to the stories now. Here we go. I was up there one day and suddenly felt something extremely frightening coming over me. I can't be precise about it, for I still don't have the faintest idea what it was. It pressed toward me and literally paralyzed me with fear. I couldn't move or talk or call out for help. It was as if it was trying to suffocate me, take me over, pull me out of my body. I really didn't know whether I could survive it that first time. It was invisible and silent. When I got my voice back, I let out what I guess was a strangled sounding squawk. I was very badly shaken. It sounds like she had like sleep paralysis, but while she was awake. That's weird. I've heard a number of ghost stories about Nantucket homes, but I've never heard anything this bad occurring in any other house on the island. I don't know if one would even call this a ghost. I could only think of it as an utterly terrifying, malevolent force. Ooh. I had a number of these attacks in our bedroom over the next few years. One even happened when my husband was in the room with me and wasn't aware it was going on until I had broken out of it. I'm not at all the type of person to have mediumistic or otherworldly feelings. My husband, too, was scared and worried by these invisible assaults. We didn't move out of the bedroom, although perhaps we should have. We did, however, talk about selling the house. One of my greatest fears was that this force would try to harm one of our children or someone visiting us. Our son Paul's fiance did have an experience very similar to mine one night. This was the only time that something happened to someone other than me, and the only time it happened outside of our attic bedroom. Here we go. Paul and Emily were sitting downstairs next to the rest of us. I can't read words. Paul and Emily were sitting downstairs after the rest of us had gone up. I remember that when I tried to put the garbage out the night after dinner, I found that the back door wouldn't open. Both my son and my husband tried to free it with no success. We had never had this problem before, but we didn't think much of it and went to bed, leaving Emily and Paul alone. I think it was close to midnight when they heard the back door open. Whoa. The previously locked back door suddenly opens all by itself. Very interesting. After a short pause, they heard someone in heavy boots crossing the kitchen. Both were startled and looked towards the door. Oh, baby. There was no one there. The footsteps continued to move at a thudding, deliberate pace straight toward where they were sitting in the living room. Oh my God. Jeez, man. They didn't have much time to react, and I guess neither moved. The steps walked right up to Emily. She was then utterly overwhelmed in a way that sounded very similar to my experiences. Paul tried to help her, sitting by her for over an hour before she came out of it. She was paralyzed, frozen by this consuming, terrifying pressure. She was extremely upset. I remember her saying the next morning that she didn't think she could stay in the house. Dude, I would have gotten out of there as soon as I became unparalyzed. So freaky. The tide turned with something quite funny. I came to open the house one summer with a Bulgarian woman who was going to be working for us. She was a cheery, salt of the earth sort of person. We had brought along the family dog, a toy beagle terrier. From downstairs in the kitchen, I whistled to the dog, for I had put out his food. He didn't come, and then didn't come. That's a weird sentence. I looked around, calling his name, and then heard whimpering coming from upstairs. All right, and we all know dogs can see ghosts. That's a proven thing. All right. I found the dog just inside the open door to our bedroom. He was whining and prancing in front of something that was blocking the doorway and wouldn't let him get by. I couldn't see anything, but after my own experiences, I was scared to reach into the room. I was standing in the hall wondering what on earth to do. When our housekeeper came up behind me, my heart sank, for I was afraid that once she found out there was something bad in the house, she would quit on the spot. But all she said was, "Ghost, huh?" and turned her back to the open door, gave whatever was blocking it a great bump with her fanny. She stepped in, scooped up the dog, and brought him downstairs for his supper. It didn't faze her in the least. Dang, that lady is freaking tough. I would have been crapping my pants and running down the street. That taught me something. I was sitting in our bedroom at my desk one day when I heard a pop. It was the rod holding the curtains on one window. The curtains fell to the floor. A couple of seconds later, there was another pop. And then another. By then, 3 curtains were down. Remembering our housekeeper's attitude, I said out loud, "All right, so I need some new curtains." "Fine." With that, all the other curtains were ripped off and thrown to the floor. Holy crap. Are you serious? That's insane. And she's just sitting there talking out loud to the ghost who's throwing her curtains around the room. She's not tough. She's a lunatic. What? I'm mad at her now. Okay. This is one last paragraph to this story. The fabric was old and faded in places, and it was indeed time to replace the curtains. So the next day I bought some Liberty print at Nantucket Looms and made new panels. And strangely enough, ever since then, I haven't had the feeling that the malevolent spirit, presence, or whatever it is, gone from the house. I guess it's possible that George, Janet's supposed apparition, felt that the attic was his territory and was trying to chase us out by attacking me. But George had seemed quite harmless and friendly, and I felt that whatever went after Emily and me was really evil. Those moments of terror were far worse than anything else I have ever known. Ooh, man. And that's where that one ends. So it doesn't really have like a dramatic conclusion or anything. It's more of just like an account of things that happened to people who lived in this spooky house. Let's see, I'm going to check in on the chat. How are you guys doing in here? Too spooky. Doubtful. I believe that. I 100% believe it because I've had my own ghost experiences in my mom and dad's house in Milford, Massachusetts. Crazy things have happened to all of us in the family, separate accounts, with all of us sitting there. It's been weird. So I tend to just believe ghost stories, and I like to believe in ghost stories. So, Amy, you peed yourself. I'm really scared. It's a nice video. So that one wasn't too scary. I forgot to start with that. I've heard this before. What is it called again? "In my house is haunted." Your house is haunted? For real? So, brief pause. I will be right back. Alright. Starting to get kind of hot in here, so I had to go get myself some water. Alright. Let's continue, shall we? Check out this sweet cube zoom. Did it do it? Ooh, there you go. Cube zooming for life. So, time for the next one. This one I did not read. So we're all going to experience this one together. Don't know if it's good. Hopefully it is. It's called A Woman in the Fireplace. Sounds pretty scary to me. I'm trying to read your comments and do this at the same time. Right. Oh, freaking crap, dude. Who just gave $10? Loic! Wow. Thank you so much, Loic. That is beyond nice of you. Loic, you're one of the best donators I have. You're constantly donating. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They're real stories, Tanner, about real ghosts from real people. Tyler, they didn't ask me to come this year, so I didn't go. Usually they send me an email, but maybe Keith's too crazy for too many games now, so I wasn't there. Maybe I'll go next year. But it's okay. I was filming a really cool... I cannot read in Keith's voice because I'll drool all over the book, Sam. I shot a really... This is a break from the ghost stories right now, but I shot a very cool music video. I didn't shoot it. I was in it. I was in a very cool... You guys know the band Imagine Dragons? I've heard of them. I don't think I've ever heard them until I was in the video. I sound like an old person. I know, but I don't listen to the radio. Find my own music. So, hey, Flying Over Trout, my friend. So... I was in a music video for Imagine Dragons this weekend, and I had to do a big rehearsal on Saturday and then shoot the video on Sunday. So it kind of worked out. I did that instead of being at too many games. So you guys will see that video soon. All right, thanks again, Loic, for donating. That was super nice of you. If you guys like this, please donate, even just $1, or you can donate to my Streamlabs, which is in the description of the video, that goes directly to me, because I would really like to continue doing this, and if you donate, it will help me stay alive and continue making garbage content like this. This lantern cost me $1,000. Help me pay it off. Alright, here we go. Back at it. This story is called A Woman in the Fireplace. Jack and Claire Vandenberg bought the house in the spring of 1972. Hey, that's the same year my car was made. That's nice. It was a depressing house, as Miss Vandenberg said. It was dank and musty and smelled of rotting wood. They scrubbed, painted, restored, repaired, rewired, put in new plumbing fixtures, and brought in their own furniture. To Miss Vandenberg's dismay, the unhealthy smell still clung. Located off Orange Street on the outskirts of town, the house was built around 1835. It is 1 3/4 stories, shingled, and has a stone foundation and a ridge chimney. The present chimney is original. Heat provided by an oil furnace comes up through floor grates downstairs, but there is no heat on the second floor. There are 4 big fireplaces, 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs, and has a gas stove in the kitchen. A large wooden storage closet is built into the wall next to the kitchen fireplace downstairs. Great. Thanks for letting us know. One day, shortly after the family moved there, Miss Vandenberg went to the storage closet for a bucket. She was reaching toward the back of the closet 1 foot inside when she felt a shock of panic and absolute fear, as acute as an electric current. She snatched her hand back, leaped out, and slammed the door. She says quite simply that she was overcome by something that wasn't good. Weird. And was active or alive in that closet. She insists that the feeling was instinctive and in no way interpretive. And Miss Vandenberg is not a skittish sort of woman. Her reaction was pure reflex, for the scare was too immediate to allow time for thought. The experience was the first of many like this that happened near the fireplaces in the house. The feeling was one of being bullied by someone. There would suddenly be something there in the area of one of the fireplaces. And now I know why people lick their fingers. It's so hard to turn pages. Miss Vandenberg noticed that the upstairs closet next to the fireplace, directly above the first floor closet, also seemed to have its moments. The second floor closet has a wooden door in the ceiling that opens up to an additional storage area. Several times Miss Vandenberg went to get a blanket or sheets. She had a prickly sensation and a strange feeling that someone was looking down at her from behind that ceiling door. Dude, that's scary. That's messed up. I just pictured that. I don't like that. I've had that feeling when you're like there's darkness in front of you and you can't see, like if you're looking into an attic and you imagine someone in the darkness seeing you because you're lit but they're not. That's messed up. I don't like this house. I don't like this story. I want this one to end quickly. We have 2.5 more pages. Okay, quick. At times the fireplace closets felt perfectly normal, and the idea of these strange visitations appeared ridiculous. In addition, the intrusions always seemed to happen when her children and husband were not around. She began to wonder whether she was just imagining things. When Jack had a similar experience, quite out of character for him, she was both relieved and worried. According to Miss Vandenberg, he has neither interest nor patience where paranormal phenomena are concerned. Nevertheless, when he was alone in the house one day, he apparently felt a rush of that same intangible threat. He later told her he suddenly knew that there was something pushing at him in the house. To his own surprise, I'm getting freaking goosebumps, man. I don't like this at all. This is like a poltergeist. To his own surprise, he found himself yelling, "This is our house. No, you get out of here." Husband and wife felt equally silly about their dramatic reactions, but couldn't seem to help themselves. The feeling of an intruder was unpleasant and scary. I have done that same exact thing. In my mom and dad's house in Massachusetts, this ghost would do stuff all the time. I'll tell you one of my ghost stories at the end of this stream when I'm done reading these stories. But I've had the same reaction where I'll just go, "I don't care," and I'll talk out loud to make myself feel more confident and to show the ghost that I'm not scared of it. So the ghost will go, "Oh man," and then just leave as if he's like mad that I don't care. So I understand why that guy did that. Okay, back to the story. One of the oddest details of the story is Miss Vandenberg's experience of an idea that would keep forming itself in her mind, like an irritating song heard too many times on the radio. The idea was something abusive had happened to a 28-year-old woman in the house. Dude, man, she's getting connected to that ghost psychically. The woman had black hair, wore long, dark clothes, and was very angry. The image was a specific one. Miss Vandenberg tried to shake the idea when it ran through her mind, and was amused by the fact that the woman seemed suspiciously like a character lifted from a bad Gothic novel. But she found that the thought would return with a strange persistence. Oh, dude, that ghost is trying to tell her something. It's not just thoughts. That's the ghost in your brain, lady. Next to the fireplace upstairs is a heavy empire chest of drawers that the Vandenbergs brought with them. It sits against the wall about 2.5 feet from the edge of the fireplace. The drawers have metal knobs and are graduated in size. Miss Vandenberg had been hearing a very faint clinking noise, like the sound of coins or keys being jingled together, coming from the direction of the bureau. The sound was just the tiniest vibration and would go on for several hours at a stretch. She checked the knobs on the bureau, finding them tightly screwed on, and then tried unplugging all the electrical appliances in the house to see if the clinking had been being caused by a machine or a lamp. It was not. The sound was coming from one of the center drawers, and yet there was nothing in the drawer itself that could be making the noise. That's messed up. She tried pulling the drawer out of the bureau. If she held it tightly enough, the noise would stop, only to start again as soon as she loosened her grip. This bureau drawer is haunted. This intermittent clinking went on for 2 months or so, until one day she lost her temper. Feeling foolish, but too frazzled to care, she said firmly, "Now this is enough. I've really had enough." The noise stopped abruptly, and she has never heard it again. Oh, what? That's all it took. That's cool, but also super terrifying because that means the ghost is there listening and watching her. Told ya. I knew it. I knew it. Ghosts are real. This shed new light on the problem. Whatever was in the house was apparently capable of interacting. See, that's what I just said. For it seemed to respond to a firm reprimand. Miss Vandenberg had occasionally been aware of something near one of the fireplaces, something more defined and slightly firmer than the invisible feelings of threat. Although she never actually saw anything, she described it as being like a displacement of air. So a fart. That's all farts are, displacement of air. Ghost farts. Ghost farts are haunting this lady. Comparing it to a small-scale version of a change in air pressure one feels when being passed by a car on a highway, or a big fart. It was a using up of space, as if the air in the room was being pushed toward me or around me. She felt that it was sometimes an object about her own size, and at other times something perhaps twice the size of a person. The feeling it gave was not like that of a breeze or a gust, but was simply a perceptible change in air density. That's weird. One night when she and her young son were upstairs, she distinctly heard a woman moaning as if in pain from inside the fireplace. Although instinctively horrified, as she should be, she did everything she could to misinterpret the sound. She was reading in bed at the time and got up and checked on her son, who was asleep in his room. That, however, was merely a gesture, for she knew that the low wailing was not one a child could make. She stuck her head out the window and hoped that the sound was coming from outside. It was not. She was sure that it wasn't the wind or an animal. It was unmistakably human. She had found that when she thought at whatever it was, in a kind but firm way, now we're not going to. Oh, so she thought at the ghost. Now we're not going to start that again, or just stop this right now. The intruding presence would fade. She concentrated and tried this with the moaning. It stopped. Aside from the intermittent clinking in the bureau, this was the only time she had heard a sound connected with the disturbance. Gradually, the threatening presence seemed to be leaving the house, for it made itself felt less frequently and become fainter in its manifestations. Miss Vandenberg observed that its disappearance involved a battle of wills. If she became even slightly panicky or tried to ignore it, it grew stronger. She hasn't felt it for 4 or 5 years now. The dank, unhealthy smell that the formerly permeated the house was also faded and finally disappeared for good. Miss Vandenberg says that she doesn't care what the source of the disturbances was, nor does she think about it much anymore. She just is thankful that it has finally gone. Woo. That's spooky. I'm kind of hoping to get one of these stories, have one of these stories be like, and then they discovered it was a child that was dead a long time ago. The best comedian ever, John. This is totally not comedy that I'm doing here. This is just something that I like to do, and I figured I would do it. I look like Bill Burr. That's funny. From Bill, you meant Bill Hicks. Can you do a live stream of funny stories someday? And what time is it for you? It is 7:30 for me. Sorry, my friend is in the middle of a hurricane. I just paused in the middle of the stream. Sorry, everybody. I'm reading the comments. Dang! Thanks for the $2, Omnislash. Thanks for being here. Thanks for donating. I really, really, really appreciate it. Oh, Flying Over Trout. Thank you for the $2. I'm seeing it now. Use this to stay alive. Thank you for helping me stay alive. That's awesome. That is $14 I've got this stream. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for donating. I'm using vMix, and then on my phone, I can switch it with a little app right here on my phone. It's pretty cool. So, I read one of these a long time ago. This is a book I borrowed from my mom and dad when I was at home recently. I want one of these to be like truly horrifying, but I feel like these are all just kind of like, oh, and there were some spooky sounds in our house. Like I want one to be like more scary. I actually loved it when the Angry Video Game Nerd read a Mega Man book from cover to cover in a video. You could totally do the same. Joshua, he did that? That's funny. I could do that. Keith could just read like Sonic the Hedgehog comics. Keith's nightmare spooky story is his sister constantly bugging him. It's true. That is true. Trickstar. Alright. That's what I think scary stories to tell in the dark. I'm going to tell one of my own ghost stories. I'll just tell you some stuff that happened in my mom and dad's house after I read one more story. I'll do one more, and then I'll tell my own, and then hang out in the chat. I don't know what one to read. I want one of these to be very scary. Let's see how long this Three Fishermen one is. Wow, this Three Fishermen one is long. And most of these are like 3-4 pages. Oh my gosh, this is really long. Should I read this one that's like 6 pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.5 pages. Should I read the 6.5 page one, or should I read a short one? Let me know, everyone. Hello, Paul. Thanks, Chad. I'm glad you like it. If you do like it, and you got an extra $1 to donate, I can greatly, greatly, greatly use it. Does that make sense? I would greatly appreciate it and could definitely use it. I'd like to do a more consistent show that has like a theme, and I love ghost stories, so I figured I'm just going to do a ghost story stream because I love them so much. And I like being told ghost stories. I like hearing ghost stories. So if you guys like ghost stories, this is not a comedy thing. It's like completely different from anything else I do. Then I will continue doing it. Let me know. Please let me know if you like this and you want me to continue, because it will help me a lot to know what to do. You want a short one? Short. Okay. You should watch Darkness Prevails on YouTube. He does good scary stories. Oh, okay. That's a good. Thank you. Yeah, I guess it depends on, like, I had this book. I figured I'll start with this one. And I kind of wanted to read them live with you and not having read them before. But in doing so, I don't know if these are going to be very scary because I'm reading it for the first time. I should probably read, because I wanted to like react to them, you know, as I read them. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you're listening at work, Evan. Thank you for listening. I love this idea. I definitely would love to see more ghost story streams. Okay, well, I will definitely do more. Thank you, Liz. Haha, thank you, Matthew. Hopefully WWE gives me that tryout. UAE Avenger, I plan on going to Dubai at some point in my life. It's on my list. I like negative $200 server. Don't worry about it, Puffy. If anyone out there has it, an extra dollar, and it appreciates this stream and likes ghost stories, then donate if you can. No pressure. If you can't, don't worry about it. I just feel like I have to say it because I never say it. Although I've been saying it lately because I need to start saying it. Do this again around Halloween time. I'll be doing this. I would love to do this every week. I'd like to make this my Wednesday stream, and then I'll just play games with everybody on the other days of the week. Watch Crypt TV. Okay, thank you for these suggestions. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get back. Thank you, Sean. You're really cool too. Thank you for being here. All right, I'm not gonna see the comments for a bit. I think my friend Becky is in the stream now. Are you here, Becky? Oh, she says, I love your haunted suit. Thank you. It's actually a cowboy shirt that I'm wearing under here, but I'm hiding that with my... I got this, Becky, if you're hearing me, I got this with Siobhan in Las Vegas at the Top Man shop. And for all of those of you who are wondering, this jacket is from Top Man. All right. Here we go. Back at it. I'm not going to read the Three Fishermen because that one is a long one. Silver Rings? A Lady in Black. Ooh, that sounds scary. Oh, it's a long one. That's another long one. Heart. Oh, these are all long ones. Ooh, that's a spooky picture. A Nocturnal Twirl. There was one about this guy. My family is here. Oh, that sounds scary. That's a long one too. Come on, man. Old and Young. That's a short one. Quakers. All right. Here's a short one. I hope it's scary. This is a trial episode, so if these aren't too scary, I will find scarier true ghost stories and read those on the next one. But the one I'll tell you is pretty good. That happened to me. I got a couple. Here we go. This is called Old and Young. Everything was wrong with this house. The basement flooded every other week. The heat went out. The toilet backed up. The refrigerator broke. And the kitchen was a Betty furnace, aqua and pink, that almost made you ill, but it was cheap. My friend Cyrus Hall and I were in our 20s. We were both new to the island, and neither of us had any money. When we located the house, we thought we'd found a perfect winter rental. A seedy living situation on wild Nantucket was a definite badge of distinction. It was the fall of 1972. Another one in 1972. Weird. The same year my car was made. I wonder if my car is haunted. I hope so. Hope it's haunted by like a German babe from the 70s. She rides shotgun with me every time. No, that's sad. I don't have a girlfriend. Back to the story. It was the fall of 1972 when we moved in. On our second day there, I was coming home from work at 5:30 and saw an old man with a gray coat and a gray fedora hat. He was standing by the front door and seemed to be fumbling with his key. I thought to myself, oh great, some old geezer lives here too, and we won't be able to have parties. By the time I'd parked the car, he was gone. I assumed he'd gone into the house. The building has been divided into 3 apartments. I'd met the kids living on the other 2 and assumed that this guy belonged to a 4th living area tucked away someplace in the back. I didn't give it much thought. When we had been in our apartment for a week or so, Cyrus came into the kitchen one morning with a funny look on his face. He told me that he'd woken up in the night to see a man with a hat standing at the foot of his bed. Startled, he'd sat straight up and the image had vanished. Oh, dude, the guy's a perv. One night, I also woke up and saw a shape in the darkness. My eyesight isn't terribly good, and I assumed that it was my coat hanging on the back of the door. I could see the shoulders and the general shape of a person. but really thought it was just clothing on a hanger and maybe a hat thrown over the hook. I was groggy, so I rolled over and went back to sleep. In the morning, I found that there was nothing hanging on my door. Oh, dude, I would have panicked right then. I remember that green feeling in the pit of my stomach when I realized I didn't know what I'd seen, but I knew I had seen it. Yeah, get out of that house. I noticed the old man a couple of other times, always when I was getting home at dusk. I only saw him from my car. He was always gone by the time I had got to the front sidewalk. I don't remember correlating the sight of the old man at the door with the figure when we had seen... What? I can't read this. I don't remember correlating the sight of the old man at the door with the figures we had seen inside at night. Okay. One morning, I was talking with one of the girls who were renting the lower apartment. I thought of the old guy and asked if she knew anything about him. She gave me a funny look and said that there was no older person living in the house. My girlfriend Jody moved in during the winter. She didn't have a job and was alone during the day while Cyrus and I were at work. She didn't know a soul on Nantucket, but she repeatedly heard someone calling her name. Dude, that's messed up. Okay, that's the first really scary thing I've read in this book. Oh, man. Okay. She went to the door again and again, puzzled, but there was never anyone there. In early spring, a friend of Jody's came for the weekend, and Cyrus, thoughtful guy that he was, gave his guest room and planned to sleep on the living room couch. He was sitting up reading the paper after the rest of us had gone to bed, and something caught his eye in the corner of the room. Looking up, he saw the faint silhouette of a man with a hat. Dude, that guy's coming for you. It was more an outline than a solid shape and seemed to be moving slowly toward him. Dude, get out of that house. He said he really couldn't believe what was going on and just sat there, more curious than afraid. Everyone does that. Bunch of freaking morons. Who's that guy coming at me? Well, wait and find out. No, you won't. You run away. And then something horrible happened. He felt this shape go into him. What? This is a good one, man. This is a good freaking story. Okay, I'm going to restart this part over. And then something horrible happened. He felt the shape go into him, or so he said. And he felt himself drowning in a wash of ugly, angry, violent emotion. Ooh, dude, I have freaking goosebumps. He had a strong urge to go into my room and attack Jody and me. What? Dude, he's like freaking possessed. He had a strong urge to go into my room and attack Jody and me, to do something physically harmful to us. It sounds laughable as I'm telling you this, but I guess it was pretty terrifying at the time. He jumped up from the sofa and ran into the bathroom and started splashing cold water on his face and neck. Dude, I have so many goosebumps. I have so many goosebumps right now. When he looked up in the mirror, holding a towel, he said that a hideous face was coming out of his. He claimed that something horrendous inside his body was looking out at him. I hate this one. This one is too scary. I asked for it and the book answered me. Holy crap, the book is listening to me. I said these weren't that scary, and now there's a horrifying story happening in my hands at my face. Okay, we only have a page and a half left. Oh, man. Now, we'd had a humdrum, dull evening and made something hallucinogenic like rice-a-roni for dinner. Wait, let me read this. He claimed that something horrendous inside his body was looking out at him. Yeah. Now, we'd had a humdrum, dull evening and made something hallucinogenic? What? And made something hallucinogenic like rice-a-roni for dinner. That doesn't make sense. Cyrus was straight and he didn't do drugs. And most of us did. And what any of us did was drink wine and beer. Not knowing what else to do, he turned on all the lights and went to the kitchen and made coffee. He said he sat at the table and drank a full pot and smoked a cigarette after cigarette. By dawn, he felt this presence leave him. Whoa, it was in him that long. It was there one moment, an outrageous urge, inside himself, and then it was gone. He knew the moment it left, and he was okay. Exhausted, he laid down on the couch and slept most of the day. That afternoon, he was in the kitchen telling Jody and her friend about what happened the night before. I was in the bedroom taking a nap. I woke up to feel a tremendous pressure on my neck and back of my head. I had to struggle to get myself out from under it. It was as if someone had put a sofa cushion on top of me and was leaning on it with all their weight. When I got myself to a sitting position, I jumped out of bed and ran into the kitchen, and that's when I heard about Cyrus's experience of the previous night. Dude, this dude is angry. Whoa. Okay. Where was I? By then, all of us had the spooks, and Cyrus and Jody and I couldn't wait to move out of the place. Nothing much happened for a few weeks, and then, shortly before the lease was up, we were sitting around in the kitchen with some friends, and someone suggested we have a seance. Bad idea. You're an idiot. Although I did a seance in Seattle in a haunted hotel, so maybe I understand the intrigue. But still, bad idea when something that intense happens. Okay, it was one of those, yeah, great idea, party situations. We had a Ouija board, and 4 of us sat down around a table. None of us had ever used one of these things before. We did seem to contact something. The pointer spelled out that the spirit was that of a girl who had died in an explosion. That was scary, and we quit right there. We had at least 2 bottles of wine that night, and by the next morning, the whole business looked pretty silly. In 1974, I met a couple working for a historical association who mentioned that they had just left a miserably uncomfortable rental. She told me it was on the same street as the apartment Cyrus and I had lived on 2 years before. It turned out to be the same place. I asked her if she'd noticed anything odd. She said she hadn't, really, except that the house just felt bad and that she had repeatedly seen a man in a gray coat and fedora hat outside their back door. I want to go to this house. I bet you I could find this house. She could see him through the kitchen window every time she walked over to the door and opened it. No one was there. Years later, I was doing research in a historical association's Peter's Folger Library and came across a box of old Inquirer and Mirror newspapers. I was browsing through them, curious to see the hot items of the 1950s and 60s, and a small article caught my eye. You can look it up, but please change all the names. I don't want to upset anyone. The article stated that a young Nantucket woman had been killed in an explosion somewhere down south. It then went on to say that she had grown up in the house Cyrus and I had rented in 1972. Oh, baby. That was a good one. That story, that's a true ghost story by this woman who lived in this house. This book is called Nantucket Ghosts. I don't know what camera it's on, but that story is called Old and Young. Wow. Okay. Now, I'm going to start to wrap up this stream, and I will tell you one of my ghost stories. Wow, there's a lot of comments happening. Hello, everyone. I'm back in the chat now. I'm here with you. Whoa. Rico Volley, thank you so much for $10. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. I really, 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 really appreciate you donating. Thank you so much. Ghost lady wearing bikini. Mr. Innocent. I like that guy. I like that ghost. I want to hang out with her. Oh, dang. Trickstar, $5. If you would be in any scary movie with another YouTuber, what movie in person would they be? Like a movie that's already happened? Thank you for that $5. Thank you very, very much. I would have to say I would want to be in a movie with Ed Bassmaster because he's the funniest YouTuber I know. One of the funniest people I know, not just YouTuber, one of the funniest people. So I would love to be in a scary movie with him. And I don't know what movie it would be. Maybe one of the movies that scared me the most, and I don't think most people think it's very scary, but The Others. if anyone's ever seen The Others, it's really scary. I went with my friend John Romilio a long time ago in Massachusetts before. I went to the Bellingham movie theater, and it was before I lived in California, and I was so scared that I was screaming out loud, and the people in front of me complained. And that also happened when I watched The Ring. I saw that in Boston, and I screamed so much, and I accidentally kicked the guy's seat in front of me. He had already turned around and complained to me twice for yelling so loud, and I had it like this, and I kicked his seat. Oh, I was like, this guy's gonna kill me. He didn't turn around on that one though, so maybe he's just like, this guy's a spaz. But I would maybe want to be in The Others because I just think it's a good movie, and it really did scare me. But I don't know what part Ed or I would play in that movie. But that's, I guess, what I would do. Thank you, Trickstar, for that donation. I really appreciate it. Wow. If you guys have any extra dollars, I could definitely use them. I'm trying to make streaming a more frequent thing, where I do like better streamed content like this, like lighting candles and hang. It took me a while to hang this lantern, to be honest. There's a bar going across the ceiling just so I could get this thing hanging in the right position. So thank you for being here, and thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. And if you do have like an extra dollar, I could definitely use it, and it'll help keep me going and paying my dang ding dong rent. I'm going to. My friend Jeff is now listening to me. I guess all my friends are watching this right now. All right, back to the chat. Okay, so, oh dang, Asterath, holy crap, man, 10 more dollars. You guys are blowing me away right now. This is like one of the best donated stream donators that I've ever had. What do you think about a rap about a ghost poop called the Spooky Dookie? I think that's great, and I think you should write it and make it, and I will watch it and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for that donation of $10. You're super, super nice. Yeah, maybe I can see I can have Bob do the mod for me, moderating the cameras for me. Here, I can also just switch the cameras on my own. Boom. You like that? Pretty good, huh? I'm a self-produced man. So I'll tell you. I have a few ghost stories, but I'll tell you one every time I stream. This is a story that happened to me in my house. Happened to my brother too and my mom. Around Christmas time. In what year is it? It must have been the 90s because I was playing Sega Saturn at the time. I was playing the game Double Switch. My day is good, Martinez. How was yours? Oh, you want a mod? Oh, a mods you're saying, like in the chat. I thought I had mods. Here, Dorlaxon, you're a moderator. I thought you guys meant like someone running my chat. Here, Loic, you can be a mod too. I forgot that I don't really stream on this main channel here. Oh, Ricka Valley, thank you. Thank you. Wow, you guys are the best. Thank you. I can read another story if you want. I don't know when I should wrap this up or if you want to hear more. Straight Busta, if you're in here for more streams, then I'll mod you. But Dorlaxon and a bunch of these other people are in here a lot, so I feel like I should give them the modding capabilities first because I see them all the time and they donate to me and they're very cool people. Loic is always in here. Naruto, then tell us when you're on. Okay, I'll do one more. That one was so good though. I was like, oh, I should just end on that one. Wow. That one was awesome. I want to read that one again. Maybe I'll bring that one back later for like an all-time hits ghost stories. Liz, I will tell one of mine. Nathan, read War and Peace. I'll fall asleep to that. I'll fall asleep to that amazing voice. My voice, really? Well, thank you. Big J's. I don't know what my favorite cheesy horror film was. Maybe Evil Dead. I don't watch too many cheesy horror films. Go all Andy Kaufman on us. Yeah, that'd be funny if I wrote a whole book. No, I'm afraid to do Bloody Mary. I won't do it. Read The Great Gatsby, Andy Kaufman's out. All right, so here, everyone comment real quick. My story or one more story, then my story. Say one more or mine, and I'll just tell you mine, or I'll read one more. Man, I hope the next one is as good as that last one. That one was freaky. I was actually getting chills. This one's called Quakers. How long is this one? Oh, this one's only like 2 pages. I could read this one. I'm just going to be bummed if this one's not very scary and we had such a good one. I guess whatever. More stories the better, huh? Both. Okay. Oh, indeed, Joe. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to do both. I'll do one more. I'm definitely going to do my story either way, so I guess it doesn't make a difference, right? If you guys got time and you want to hear more, then I'll do it. Yeah, man, Dorlaxing, this is insane. People are donating so much. I really appreciate everyone donating. This is amazing. It was 111 people watching. That's pretty good for me. Thanks for being here, everybody. I really, 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 really appreciate this. This is very fun for me. I'm glad you're here. Okay, here we go. Thank you for donating. If you guys have it, please donate because it seriously pays my rent. Because it's hard in between acting jobs. And it's like I can't get a full-time job because then I can't make videos and audition. Anyways, my life is fine, but I do need to pay rent, so I need to do things like this. So thank you for being here. Let's do another one. This one is called Quakers. This one's a quick one. If it's not very good, I'll do another one, then tell my story. May as well go all night, right? And if you guys are listening while you're going to bed, I hope it puts you to sleep. But don't get scared in your dreams. Okay, here we go. Quakers. I have to read it like this because it's so dark in here. I can't read the words this way. Oh, I guess I can read the words here. I was aware of a mother and father and a boy about 14. The woman wore a long, simple dress and a Quaker bonnet, and the man was in a dark outfit. They were sitting in front of the fireplace in the front room. The adults in the chairs and the boy on a low sofa or bench of some... It's hard for me to read out loud. They were sitting in front of the fireplace in the front room. The adults in chairs and the boy on a low sofa or bench of some kind. I couldn't see them in everyday terms, but I could see them inside of myself. I knew they were there and that they were reacting to my presence in the house. That's a big quote. What the heck does that mean? I guess we're going to find out. Miss Abigail Halstead lives outside of Washington, D.C. with her husband, John. The Halsteads and their children and grandchildren have been spending summers on Nantucket for many years. Miss Halstead went on, I hesitate to tell this story because it makes me sound quite crazy, but you're obviously used to hearing people talk about these things. I've known I was what you'd call psychic from the time I was quite young. Okay, this is good. I can tell this is going to be a good one. I love psychic stuff. I talk to a psychic very often. If you guys are curious, I can give you her name. She was Nancy Reagan's advisor. I totally believe in psychics. This lady's right about so much stuff. Okay, back to the story. I've known I was what you'd call psychic from the time I was quite young. I've never pursued it or tried to develop that side of myself, quite frankly. I think it's scary and confusing. You could get lost delving into that other side of life. Oh yes, I am absolutely positive that ghosts exist. This person thinks just like me. If there's anything in a house, I can always feel it, or perhaps I would be more accurate to say that it's like just dark enough on the book that I can't quite see the words, but I don't want to keep reading like this. I want to be able to just read straight on. Let's see if I can make it through this. I can always feel it, or perhaps it would be more accurate to say that it always seems to feel me. Ooh, dude, so that's the thing. I think I'm going to take a quick break from this story. My brother Seth and I think are very similar, and we have these feelings, and we can, I feel like I know when there's something supernatural going on, and there's something else in the room with me, and Seth and I also have premonitions of things that come true all the time, and I just feel it, and I'll say, sometimes I've said it out loud to my friend Paul, and he's like, I can't believe you said that. You were right. So I totally understand what this person is saying. I believe in people having psychic abilities and ghosts. Welcome to my brain, and Nathan's narrations. If you're just joining me, we're reading a story called Quakers. This is a true ghost story from Nantucket, an island off of Massachusetts. All right, here we go. I bought our present house in 1960. It was built in 1735 and had been moved into town from Sherburne. I know where Sherburne is. That's right near where my mom and dad live. Which, as you know, was the earliest settlement on the island. Oh, that's a different Sherburne. Never mind. I knew they were there on my first night in the house. I could feel them most clearly in that front room. At times they were all there, sitting by the hearth, and at other times the room was empty. They seemed to be a Quaker family and had a stiff and rather forbidding aura to them. Oh, man. They behaved in the way that one would imagine Quakers would act. If someone uninvited moved into their home. Their parents were stern, informal, and quite dignified. I never saw them move. The son, on the other hand, followed me around downstairs and did a couple of naughty 14-year-old things. Like what? An interesting aside involves my neighbors, the Thomases, who helped me out in the other house during those first few weeks. I was there alone, living in the back bedroom, and they helped me move things and plan needed renovations. I'm not the person that should be reading a book out loud. I can't read words out loud. I was there alone, living in the back bedroom, and they helped me move things and plan needed renovations and so on. They knew walking into that front room when there was something there. They couldn't see anything, but my sense and their sense of when the room was occupied always coincided. I was locking the front door one day, and I could feel that young boy behind me. The door was an old-fashioned lock with a knob that you have to set in place and turn a certain way. It's a very deliberate series of movements. The knob can't slip out or turn on its own. Well, I locked the door, and it slowly unlocked before my eyes. Oh, man. Oh, baby. I did it again. He did it again. We went through this performance one more time, and then I said firmly, "That's enough of that," and I locked the door, and it stayed that way. Wow. That's crazy. If it's something we're learning from this story and the last one, you can yell at ghosts and they listen to you. But I would not be wanting to yell at a ghost because it might yell back in another dimension and suck me into another world. My brother was visiting me during the first spring in the house, and I had been telling him about the Quakers and about their prankish little boy. He poo-pooed my stories and was rather condescending about the whole thing. Well, I could feel as we were talking that the young boy was near us, so I said to my brother, "Well, why don't you try the door and see what happens?" He walked over and locked the door. It was carefully unlocked and the knob turning and moving slowly out on its own. He said, "Well, that's funny. I just can't understand it." He did it again, and the door again unlocked itself. I must say I was pleased. I then said something like, "All right, please leave that knob alone now," and my brother locked again, and that was that. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. He mumbled something about must be an explanation, but he didn't look rather taken aback. I felt the young boy upstairs only once. I had a guest, and I had arranged all sorts of bath oils and powders and soaps for her on a low shelf around the tub. Perhaps he thought I had overdone it, for the entire shelf full was swept into the tub with a tremendous clatter. It was a bit irritating and alarmed my guest. Dude, that guy's perving in the bathroom. When the Quakers didn't leave and I had been in the house for several months, I decided that we should have a little talk. I wanted everyone who stayed in the house to feel comfortable, and that required some adjustment. I waited until I could feel the Quakers in the room, and then I went and sat down across from them on the other side of the hearth. I said out loud, I know this was once your home, but now it's time for you to leave. I love this house and I'm taking good care of it. I want this to be a happy home. I don't want it to be a scary place for my family. This house is in good hands and I want you to go now. I was very firm and quite honestly, that was the last I felt of them. That scares me just hearing that. I would think the ghost would be ticked, and I would be so afraid to say that. Over the years, I have heard a number of other haunted houses on Nantucket. Heard of other haunted houses on Nantucket. It isn't uncommon here. At one time, we were staying on Academy Lane, and there was a house down the street that very definitely had a ghost in it. I remember that one of our children saw a lady's face in the window. Dude, I don't like thinking of that. That alone is scary. Just thinking of a lady's face looking at you. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was also told about a house somewhere near the intersection of India and Gardner. Supposedly the sounds of a party could be heard downstairs when the house was empty. There was a story about a husband and wife having a dreadful row at that party and the woman running blindly out into the street and being hit and killed by a car. The echoes of that evening could be heard in the house for many years after this dreadful thing happened. There are spirits in our house near Washington, which is also very old, and I've run across ghosts in houses in other parts of the country. It doesn't generally surprise me, and I try not to pay too much attention unless it's something that interferes with present day living. It happens. I say, to myself and continue folding the blanket or walking up the stairs or doing whatever I happen to be doing. And that's the end of that one. So I guess she's not scared of ghosts anymore, but that Quaker family was haunting her house. That is that story. Now, should I tell one of my own stories? I'm going back into the chat. I saw a ghost once. Good show. Oh, you did, Mike. Nathan would be the funniest guest on something like Ghost Adventures. I would lose my mind. I get so scared and I react so hugely to things that freak me out. I want to host my own ghost hunting show, honestly. That's something I would love to do because I love ghosts so much. Yeah, a lot of broke ghosts in the forum. Alright. I'm going to tell my story. War and Peace. I don't think I want to read that. That would be so boring. Yeah, kids. I think kids do see ghosts. Okay, bye, Martinez. I think you might have left already. Don't worry, I like your oats. Who is that with you, Nathan? Don't say that, Mike. Don't say things like that. Not cool. Could you tell ghost stories as Keith while trying to play Ghost Pilots for Neo Geo? That would be hard because I'd have to read, unless it's a story I've memorized. I don't think that would be very easy to watch. A friend of mine says she can see aura, but thought it was weird she couldn't see mine. Then she turned off the light and said not only was my aura black, but it also had a shape of a figure. Dude, cake pews, that's horrifying. Bringo. Dringus? You did what? You beat some of my trials times? Not cool. I'm gonna go in there and beat them back on you. Thank you for being here, though. Alright, so here's a story that happened to me and my mom and my brother Seth in Massachusetts, in Milford, Massachusetts, where my parents still live, the house they're still in. When we moved into the house, we were told, my mom talked to a woman who had it before us or had lived in it a long time ago. And she said, oh, some stuff might happen that's kind of like, you know, weird or spooky. We think it's a young boy who lives in the house. And it happened a lot when we first moved in. And my parents started like redoing the house and stuff happened like all the time. And since we've moved out, me and my brothers, not much happens. And my mom is very disappointed because stuff happened all the time when we first moved in. There would always be like a popping sound like that in the air. It'd just be sitting in the room and all of a sudden you hear maybe like it's like something popped. That happened all the time. We seem to think that it was like a cork gun. I think that was a thing kids had a long time ago, like a gun that you could squeeze and the cork would pop out at the end. But we don't know what it was. It was just a popping sound. Random things would happen, like you'd be running around the house looking for your keys, and then you'd come back in the room. This happened to me. I remember one time in particular, it happened to me. No one else was in the house. I was leaving. I was running around, and I always lose things. I'm like, what did I do with my keys? And a lot of the time, me and my whole family would hang our keys on this key hook right by the back door, just so you wouldn't lose your keys. And they weren't there. I was like, why did I do with them? Why didn't I hang them up? I would have definitely hung them up, because once you walk in the house, you hang them up right away. Something I still do now. My keys, couldn't find them anywhere. Ran all around the house, came downstairs. My keys were in the center of the room on the floor. So freaky. Freaked me out big time. That was one little thing. Okay, so the good story I'm going to tell you is it was around Christmas time. I was playing Sega Saturn in my room, playing Double Switch, and Seth and my mom were making Christmas cookies, decorating Christmas cookies down in the kitchen. And the house is very small. You could like yell and have a conversation from upstairs to downstairs. And like my door was open. So right behind my door was like the staircase, and then right below was like the kitchen. So it was like, you can hear everything. I could hear my brother, my mom, and Seth talking, but I can't really understand what they're saying. So I'm playing the game in my room. And we all heard someone run up the stairs. And I like waited for Seth to come in the room behind me, and he didn't come in the room. And then I was like, oh, maybe he went to the bathroom. So then I kept playing the game. And then I heard my mom yelling, Nathan, take off your shoes. And I was like, oh, what is she saying? And I paused the game. I said, what? I crawled over to the door, which is like the top of the stairs. And I said, what? And she said, take off your shoes. And I was like, I'm not wearing my shoes. I'm in the room playing a game. I had socks on. And she's like, what? And then we all got freaked out because someone ran up the stairs wearing shoes, and we were the only ones home, and there was no one there, and we all heard it. That was pretty cool. Other things happened. I got another one. I don't know if I should save the other one. One thing that happened that Josh and Seth, or maybe it was both, just Seth, in their room, they shared a room at the time, there was a ceiling fan that turned on, spun around, stopped. My dad told me more details about it the other day, and I already forget them. There's like more to it than just this. The fan turned on, stopped, spun back around, and stopped. And there was something else to it, but I don't remember what it was. Oh dang, Riccavalli, thank you for $10. Is that more $10? Did you already donate? You're donating more? I had something like that happen in an apartment I lived in for weeks. Something kept slamming one of the bedroom doors. Even when I locked it, it was always locked. And when I went to check it after a slam. So messed up, Asterath. Happened all the time. And then I had moved. Lack of sleep. It was a killer. Wow, that's super freaky. I don't like hearing that. I have one more story I could tell you. It's like my only other kind of good story. I could tell you a story. I'll save that for the next stream. This is a story that happened to my dad. I'm probably gonna butcher it. You're sinking in multiple Lincoln. I know, flying over trout. This is great. Thank you to everyone who's donated this stream. I really appreciate it. Super nice of you. I'm texting my friend who's listening. Jeff, are you still watching? So, this happened to my dad. Switch cameras over here next to the lantern for a spooky angle. My dad lived in Colorado at the time. I think he was like 18 or 19, and he was working at a restaurant in Colorado, like some mountain area, and everyone was done working for the night. The restaurant was closed. It was like him and the chef and like a waiter or someone. They were all sitting around just talking as they were like, wrapping up and about to leave. And the screen door to the restaurant opened and then closed. And they heard footsteps walking through the room, and they were like all confused. They're thinking, what's happening? And like you kind of think logically as you know it's happening, and they didn't really think much of it. And then second later, there was saloon doors that went into the kitchen. They swung open. Someone walked through the saloon doors, and then they waited, and then they heard it go down the cellar stairs from the kitchen. So something came in, walked through. That's not a very great story, but it's just what happened to him. It's better when he tells it because he probably tells more details. I'm trying to not tell my other good ghost story that happened to me and my girlfriend at the time. I might have already told this on a stream before. Do you like H3H3? I don't watch H3H3, but I know all about those guys. Oh, I'm sorry, Evan. You donated? Oh, dang it. I didn't see it. I was reading the story probably. Let me scroll back. Before this ends, I'm going to read all the donators. I'll mention everyone before I end this for donating. Thank you for donating. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Evan. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Purple Glove. I lived in Booney in the mountains and got lost like wrong turnstile when I was 10 and could hear cackling laughter. Dude, so messed up. Never experienced anything personal, but my uncles swear my grandma's favorite rocking chair would rock by itself shortly after she died. So messed up. Nathan, I rewatched Action Sequence Pro on your YouTube channel recently, and it has been several years since I last saw it. I must say, it's simply beyond brilliant, especially episode 1. Well, thank you, E-Tank. I appreciate it. One of my personal favorite Action Sequence Pros is, actually, no, it's not Action Sequence Pro, Narc. The series I did with Sam Macaroni as Gaul Sanglelis, that character was called Narc. That's one of my favorite Gaul videos. If you haven't seen that, check that one out. I still have a second one I wanted to do for that. I worked in a mortuary for a bit and saw some creepy things. Often we'd see little children's footprints, and we had a radio that would turn on and play 1950s music for some reason. Whoa, Junkyard, that's crazy. I actually worked as a gravedigger for 2 years in Massachusetts, in Natick, Massachusetts. And that's what I did to save my money to move to California. If you go on my Instagram, my brother Josh took a picture of me in the cemetery. I think we did it last fall. That's the cemetery I worked in. And I did it for 2 years. And nothing really scary ever happened. The only thing that I ever saw was like this fox that would come and visit me when I was cutting grass. And it would just sit there and stare at me as I cut grass. And it would just watch me. It was really cool. I liked that fox. But nothing scary ever happened to me in the cemetery. I once went down to my basement and saw a piece of bread move all by itself. What? Maybe it was a mouse biting it from the other side. It was insane. It was the craziest ghost story. I'm not kidding. I was just making a sandwich. I can't tell if you're kidding. When I was a kid, there was an old Victorian house near the park we went to. We looked in the windows one day, and there was an old rocking chair inside rocking on its own. That's the best I got. Wow, really, Monkey? That's really good. That's crazy. Fox was probably waiting for you to stir up mice with the mower. Coyotes do that to me. Oh, really? That's interesting. Maybe Fox is your patroness. What does that mean? What's a patroness? I kind of want to read another story. You guys want me to read another one? What do you think? One more? I don't know how long have I been doing this. There's still over 100 people in here. Thank you, everyone who's watching this. Thank you, 100 people. You're all my friends. Yeah, well, you know, that's what I did like about being in the cemetery. It was quiet. Read them all. All right, hopefully this next one is good. I read a couple of these, and the ones I read earlier weren't like super scary. When we came in my house, he was, yo. All right, let's do another one. Jeff, you can scroll up to see if you want to look. My friend's in the chat. All right, cool. Let's go back to the book. Life's Strange Happenings is the name of that one. That one's really long. Ooh, this one's just called They. Oh, baby. It's not too long. I'm going to read They. That sounds pretty scary. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. I was 21 when Miss Duval hired me. I cleaned her house for one full season, from early May to late September, and then I quit. I couldn't stand it anymore. I was really frightened. Dun dun dun. Good way to start a story. Here we go. So I should say this. Most of these stories, it seems to be like Nantucket is a very expensive place to live. It's an island off of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and a lot of rich people live there. I think Tommy Hilfiger lives there. There's not a lot of people. There's only 10,000 people on the island apparently, and a lot of the houses I think are owned by people who rent them out in the summer. So like when it says we were staying, I think a lot of people were just staying in these houses, and then a lot of people talk about like we were fixing up the house because usually they rent these houses out to vacationing people. Just wanted to say that in case any of this was kind of confusing. Okay, here we go. I was born on Nantucket, and I'm one of those people who's sensitive to anything strange lingering in an old house. I know the moment I walk in the door. As a child, I lived with an invisible ghost in a house on the east end of the island, and so the whole idea of spirits has never seemed that odd. I don't welcome that kind of experience, but it has a way of happening to me. Miss Duval hired me to clean every week, whether she was there or not. Most of the time, the house was empty while I was working. Sometimes she had guests for the weekend, so I'd prepare the house for them and then clean up after they were gone. But she is a meticulous sort of person, and she wanted me to go around and dust and vacuum everything, even if no one had been in the house since the last time I was there. On my first day at work, I brought my dog with me. He hopped out of the truck, ran up to the front door, and then wouldn't set foot inside. This is going to be a good one, I can tell already. Here we go. Lost my spot. I couldn't... Let me read that again. On my first day of work, I brought my dog with me. He hopped out of the truck, ran up to the front door, and wouldn't set foot inside. In all the time I worked there, he would always wait for me in the truck. I tried coaxing him in the front door, and then I tried the back. It was as if there were an invisible line that he wouldn't cross. I couldn't pull him, push him, or carry him inside. He's never done that at any other house. That dog's smart, and you're a dang fool. When I first stepped in the front door, I remember feeling the hair go up on the back of my neck. I thought to myself, oh no, here we go. There's something here. This is a good one. I like it already. At first, they started by doing insignificant, annoying things. They? Yes. I guess I always thought of the source of these goings-on as they. It felt like a group of presences in the house. It never seemed, at least to me, like a single spirit at any rate. I'd be cleaning and I'd hear the bleeping signal of a phone. What? Can I read these words? At any rate, I'd be cleaning and I'd hear the bleeping signal a phone makes when it's been taken off the hook. I'd put down my dust rag and go downstairs to find the telephone receiver had been lifted off and laid on its side on the table. I'd hang it back up. Okay, I'd say to myself, I can deal with it. I'd be vacuuming and sometimes I'd hear talking and laughter, the sound of a group of people. I'd shut off the vacuum and the house would be dead quiet. I'd turn it on, the voices would start up again. It wasn't an irregular sound in the vacuum motor or anything like that. It was definitely the sound of people conversing, the low and high tones of men and women talking. After a few weeks, the level of activity began to pick up. I'd be upstairs and I'd hear furniture being dragged across the floor downstairs. I'd gallop down the stairs and find the that a chair had been pulled to the other side of the room or a table dragged into the middle of the floor. Dude, you're a fool. Get out of there. They're going to drag you around the room. I'd say something like, look, I know you don't like me being here, but can you please put up with me for a little while longer? I'm just trying to do my job. Now, these disturbances only occurred when I was in the house alone, when Miss Duval and her family and guests were nowhere near the place. That's crazy. Isn't that funny how you always talk to the ghost? I guess it's just a human reaction to be like, you know, what else are you supposed to do? I guess you just gotta yell at the dang ghost and say, stop being a jackass. But my good story that I wanted to tell you that happened to me, I actually spoke to the ghost, and it was the scariest thing that happened. I'll save it for the next episode. Back to the story. Gotta keep you guys wanting more. Things got worse. I'd hear the sofa or a sea chest, something really big and heavy, scraping across the floor in the living room, and so I'd hurry down. At first, I really wanted to catch them, to see who was doing it and whose voices I was hearing. I wanted to at least to actually see the furniture being moved. I'd get downstairs and I'd hear the muffled thwack, whoomp, sound of scattered rugs from upstairs being thrown over the railing behind me. Dude, the things are getting nasty. I keep losing my place. Oh, I lost my spot. Okay, let me just here we go. I never did witness these things being done. I'd hear it happening in another part of the house and find when I got there that the objects had been moved. But when I arrived at the scene, everything was always as still as could be. At that point, it was more irritating than frightening. I was trying to straighten out and clean, and they were messing things up as fast as I was putting them in order. That's crazy. That much physical activity from a ghost, that's like intense. The house would be worse on some days than others. I figured I could put up with it as long as it was just silly, bothersome stuff, and I began talking to them the instant they acted up. Now stop, I'd say. You're making things awfully difficult for me. This is something I'm being paid to do, you know, and I need to get this done. It didn't seem to do much good, but it made me feel better. That's what it does. It calms your nerves. One day I went up to the attic, bad idea, where I'd been cleaning the previous week and found a really lovely picture right smack in the middle of the floor. Just like my keys. Told ya. It had most definitely not been there before. It was an old photograph of a little girl. She was all dressed up in what looked like her Sunday best. She had long hair and ringlets, a big bow, high ankle shoes that buttoned up the side, and a lovely frilly dress. The picture was in a gorgeous mahogany frame. I'd say it dated back to the early 1900s, maybe the late 1800s. I picked up the picture and wondered who the little girl was. I put it on the top of one of those boxes in the corner of the attic. I remembered Miss Duval telling me that the house had quite a bit of family stuff in it when she bought it. She had liked the old furniture and kept most of it around, putting away in the attic the things she didn't care for. The next time I came to clean, the picture of the little girl was downstairs on the telephone table. The house had been empty all week. This happened 4 or 5 times. I found the picture in the dining room and then in the bedroom. They obviously wanted me to see they had moved it. Dude. Super scared. I don't like this. I have goosebumps. Holy crap. Ooh, that's messed up. That's messed up. These freaking naughty ghosts. When I saw Miss Duval, I mentioned the photograph, just asking if she knew who the little girl was. She didn't know what I was talking about. I described it in detail. She gave me a strange look, for apparently she had never even seen the photograph. It disappeared shortly after that, again during a week when the house was empty, and I never ran across it again. I wish you could see, but it's super close to my face. I am so freaked out right now. It's daytime. Maybe it's nighttime now. I don't know. I'm in this dark room. I don't know what time it is out there. This is messed up. This is a good one. This is a good one. It continues. There's more. I didn't tell Miss Duval about my craziest experiences in the house. I didn't feel it was my place to tell her that stuff unless she brought it up, and she never did. I'd feel more comfortable in some areas of the house than in others. Certain rooms just seemed to have specific things attached to them. When I was in the downstairs bedroom, I sometimes heard the sound of a horse and carriage coming up the driveway, clear as it could be. I think the driveway may have been paving stones at one time, because I'd hear the horses' hooves, the sounds of their harnesses creaking and clinking, and grinding of wheels rolling over rock. Dude, that's messed up. It's a freaking ghost chariot coming to get you. I'd look out the window as soon as I'd heard the carriage, but I never saw a thing. That downstairs room had a very old-looking mahogany bed. It was short and narrow. Perhaps it was a child's bed. It had been in the house when she bought it. Miss Duval told me, and she seemed to feel it was quite valuable. I remember she told me to take special care of it. One day I was vacuuming under that bed, and something grabbed the end of my vacuum hose and held on to it. I pulled hard, and then the end of the vacuum, the attachment came right off. It wasn't stuck on anything. I had only been running the vacuum over the bare floorboards. And when I had pulled, it felt like someone was holding on to the other end. You know, there was a slight give to it. When I finally got up my courage to peek under that bed, it all looked as quiet and normal as could be. There was nothing the vacuum could have gotten stuck on. No exposed springs or fabric or anything. It was a good bit later before I dared to reach under there and get the attachment. Dude, I would have quit right then and there. Wow, so messed up. My husband fixed some plumbing in the house, and he noticed a funny thing. He'd take the hoses off the back of the washing machine during the time it wasn't in use and put them in the sink. They'd be thrown right out of the sink onto the floor. This happened over and over. He also felt that same back of the neck prickly sensation I had in the house, and he felt the cold spots. He could walk right into freezing cold areas in any given room. The change in temperature was hard to ignore. I mowed the lawn for Miss Duval during the summer. I used a hand mower, and it took quite a long time because there's a good big field out behind the house. I always knew that I was being watched from one of the windows. Watched by someone inside the house. I could feel it. I'd glance up quickly, really expecting to see a face, but I only saw the flat, blank reflection of daylight on glass. All right, we got one more page. It was when I started going in twice a week for shorter periods of time that it got really bad. I had thought it might be easier to stop in and do 3 hours at a time instead of staying for a full 6. It got so that I would unlock the front door and get the strangest feeling. I felt as though the house was too quiet when I stepped inside. It seemed like the place was full of people holding their breath. I got the impression that all sorts of things had been going on, that when I opened the door, everyone fell silent. Dude. Trying to jolly myself out of the feeling, I'd say, "Hello, I'm here. I'll be as quick as I can." I didn't have much success. Things began to get nasty. The furniture moving started happening behind my back every 10 or 20 minutes. When I was upstairs, I'd hear it happening downstairs. And when I was downstairs, I'd hear it happening up. All kinds of things scraped and bumped along over the floor. Objects were never carried. They were always dragged. I remember I ran downstairs once after especially noisy session and found all of the chairs arranged in a tight little circle in the middle of the living room. I hate this story. This one's freaking me out. That's too much freaking ghost activity right there. Wow. Dude, this guy, I don't know how he didn't quit a long time ago. Another time, while I was in the kitchen, all of the chairs in the outer room were piled up against the back of the kitchen door. Of course, I tripped over the chairs, knocked them all over in trying to get out. It was almost like naughty children, but it was also premeditated, deliberate feeling, and increasingly sinister. Something in the house was trying to get rid of me. My God. One day, pictures started coming off the walls. A stack of dishes was moved with a noisy clatter in the kitchen. A rug flew through the air and hit me in the back. And I got whacked by some sofa pillows that zipped halfway across the room on their own. Finally, a chair was thrown at me. It missed me and I wasn't hurt, but that did it. I was afraid. Really afraid. I was going to get injured. My husband urged me to quit, and I did. It was such a relief. They wanted me out of there, and Lord knows I was happy to go. Holy crap. That story is called They. And this book is called Nantucket Ghosts. It's ghost stories that happen on Nantucket Island off the coast of Massachusetts, where I'm from. I went to Nantucket a lot when I was little, and recently too, because I'm from Cape Cod. Say Massachusetts is like this, an arm, and then it comes over here. My parents live about here now in Milford. I lived in Mashpee, which is about here on Cape Cod. The end of Cape Cod's here, Provincetown. Nantucket's like over here. I love Cape Cod and ghosts, so I figured, and Nantucket, so I figured this would be the good book to read. All right, getting back to the chat now. See what you guys are saying. Thank you for being here, everybody. Can't. Why is my phone flipping out? My phone is haunted. I can't see the chat. Okay, here we go. I would have placed a camera. Yeah, I think a lot of these stories though took place in like the 70s and 80s before they had like cameras they could use. Because I don't know if they all took place then, but when was this written? A lot of the stories say the dates from like the 70s and stuff in the 80s. I'm trying to look for dates. 1984. Oh yeah, so this book is a combination of two books that this woman wrote, and it was written in 1984, and the other one was written in 1990. So I don't think that in a lot of the stories have happened before that, before she wrote this. Talked to the people who told her the stories. So that's what this book is. It's this woman went all around Nantucket and talked to different people who had ghost stories, and they told her their stories, and she wrote them in this book. This is my new sieve. This is my new set for this ghost show. And I just made you a moderator, Civ. Milo says, I have some entity that has been following me since I can remember. Dude, does it do anything scary? Or is it just like a feeling that you have? Thanks, Civ. I'm glad you like it. My favorite horror video game? I don't like horror video games, R.W. Walker. But one of the ones I did enjoy, I love being scared, but I also don't like being scared. Outlast is a really good one. That game freaks me out. I streamed that a little bit on if you go to my gaming channel Nayplay, there's a couple episodes I think of me playing Outlast, and I get freaked out. PT, no, I should say my number one favorite is PT, and I streamed PT. I think a lot of you saw that. I did a couple months ago. Beat the whole game. That's one of the scariest experiences I've ever had playing a video game. All that stuff just reminds me that there is a little girl that likes to poke her head out of the hallway while we're in the living room, but when you walk towards her, she runs away. What are you talking about, RT Yable? Half-Life is your scariest one, Joshua? Yeah, Kyle, yes, I know it's still in there. I read all the comments. Thank you for letting me know. I'm still pretty annoyed that my dance is being used in Fortnite, and then I get no credit for it. And the music's the same. The name is basically the same. obviously mine, and it's not Conor McGregor's. I don't care what anybody says. We all know it's mine. What's PT? Asterath? Holy crap. You got to look up PT. You can't get it anymore. It was the Silent Hills. It was the demo for the new Silent Hills that Guillermo del Toro was making. And it's now been taken off the PlayStation Store. And if you have it on your system, apparently you can sell your system for a bunch of money. I have it, and it's awesome. It's very scary. And it's very simple and very scary. You got to watch people play PT. Playable trailer for Silent Hills. Yeah, Dorlaxon, like Dorlaxon said. Watch it. Watch my stream. I don't know if it's on my Naplay or if it's on this channel. I think you can look up my PT stream. Does anyone remember if I did it on this channel or my gaming channel? Hi, Taurus. Yeah, it is a shame PT got canceled. It was so good. My aunt and my best buddy have seen it. Wow. So scary, Milo. That's freaky. Do the show every week. My wife Faye and I are loving it. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, if you guys are liking it, please let me know. Like, tell me, because I read all these comments, and after this is not live and I end the thing and it's a video, I will read every comment. I think I'm gonna cut this stream up and put it up on my channel as some videos for people who didn't get to watch it live. The ghost stories reminded me of a ghost girl in my house. Sorry for lack of explanation. She also likes to wave at kids when they're around. Wow, so freaky. Thanks, Robert. I love ghost stories, and I was just thinking, like, what can I do that's exciting and fun for me to do that's live instead of just playing a game? And I was like, oh, I love ghost stories. I'm always telling ghost stories and things I've heard. We used to have, like, ghost story nights. When I lived in Santa Monica, there was an attic. I could do it here, too. I have an attic here, but it gets so hot up there in the summer. We had a ghost story night. We built, like, a fort in the attic and put like mattresses up there, and we'd all go up there, and it was Christmas lights and stuff, and we'd all tell ghost stories in the fort attic. And I was thinking that'd be so fun to do that as a live stream. So I put together this little set. Got this lantern hanging here. It was kind of annoying to hang up, but got to work, and it fell right into the right spot. It's perfect. Got this candle over here. This is an actual candle. This is not a fake one, which it kind of looks like it on the camera. It just looks like a glowing thing. Oh wait, did I take it out of the frame? Oh, that's the tight shot. I don't know what shot I'm on. Okay. Oh, this is the yeah, I'm on a tight frame right now. The scariest thing that's ever happened to me was playing that first-person shooter game called Fear. Oh, really? I am a vegetarian. I'm not sure what you guys. I missed some of the comments. Oh, what's my view on veganism? I'm basically vegan, Philip. I rarely have dairy. I'm pretty much just vegetarian, but almost vegan. I think it's very good for the earth, and it saves on pollution because the meat industry, factory farming, is like the main source of pollution. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about ghosts. Should I read another one? Should I keep going? This is really fun. Does anyone want me to do one more? How long have I been going? Can anyone see how long the stream has been? You know what? I'm going to take a break. If anyone new comes, tell them I'll be right back in like a minute. I'm going to get some water, and then I will come right back in like 60 seconds. Hang on. I'll play the intermission music. be right back. Hello, I'm back. Hello everyone, I'm back in here. I'm reading the comments. Trolls are scared of ghosts. All right, so if you guys are liking this and you got a couple of bucks, please donate. I hate asking, but I definitely need the money, and this is basically a job for me. It helps me stay alive and pay my extremely expensive Los Angeles rent. And Loic, I just saw your direct donation. Thank you, Loic, for the donation to my Streamlabs. That you donated way too much tonight. That was a $15 donation. Super nice of you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being in here and watching this. Please give this stream a thumbs up if you like it. Then maybe some other people will see it and it'll get spread around YouTube. I don't know how the algorithm works anymore, as things are all messed up. But maybe people will enjoy it. This one's pretty short. It's like 4 pages. All right, I'm gonna read this one. This will be my last one for the evening. I think every Wednesday I will do this now as my, maybe I'll do it more. I really like it. If you guys like it and want to hear more, it's not very funny. Shut up. Cake pews. Holy crap. $50? I'd love to see you play True, a horror game for PS1 called Kodelka. I bet you would love it. Please check it out. Hugs from Norway. Wow. Oh, 50 knock. I always get confused when I see other currencies. Thank you for that donation. I don't know how much that is, but I really appreciate you donating. Maybe it's like $5 or something. What's $50 in Norwegian money? I'm not sure. Anyone got a translator near them? Thank you, Cake. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for donating. I don't have a PlayStation 1 right now, but I'm definitely going to write that game down, Kudelka. I'm going to look up some videos. It sounds cool. Like 7. Okay, I'll take your $7. Thank you. That's very generous of you. I appreciate it. That's super nice. I'll take it. It's more than $5. I can get a sandwich for that. I can get a veggie burger for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice of you. All right, cool. You guys are all my best friends, and thank you for listening to me and watching me. Now, I didn't think this book was going to have as many good ghost stories. Like, these have been actually giving me physical reactions and making me scared and get goosebumps. So I'm happy that these are ending. A lot of these have been good. Have you guys liked these? Are they good stories? I'm going to be doing a lot of research now and finding some other stories to read to you. So hopefully I'll find some more good ones. I'm going to have to read them beforehand to make sure. Did I just mess up the stream? I want to make sure it's not showing a picture and it's actually streaming me. Okay, cool. Got my wet water. My Ultimate Warrior cup. Alright, here we go. Back at it. This last story, I hope it's a good one. I hope we end on a spooky one. That last one was really spooky. That cleaning lady had a traumatizing job. This one is called A Shaker Rocker. My wife and I are antiques dealers and bought our house on Union Street in September of 1967. We are from Connecticut, and we had opened a small branch of our mainland business on one of the wharfs here this previous summer. We fell in love with the island and began looking for a place to live at the end of the season. Once we set foot in the house, we knew immediately that it had to be ours. It had all happened very quickly. We moved in and began stripping all kinds of trim and overlay. The floors were covered with linoleum, the fireplaces were blocked up, the lights or small fire windows over the doors were painted over. We unmasked the house room by room, doing most of the restoration work ourselves. This is exactly what my parents did to the house that I lived in and they still live in. And that's when we had lots of ghost activity. The house was like all covered up with gross carpet and other floors. My dad ripped the floors out, exposing the original floors, and they made the house look like its original self. And that brought on ghosts. The ghost, I think, all the activity and messing around with the house. My parents think that the ghost doesn't do anything in the house anymore because the house is back to the way it should be. So I'm just saying that now in case similar things happen in this book, which will give me hard proof that ghosts are real and they act up when houses get remodeled. Here we go. I looked into the history of the house and found that it had been built by Captain Joseph West in 1802. When his wife, Mary, died in 1816, West sold the house to Captain Obed Cathcart for $1,300. Cathcart lived in the house with his wife, Sally McCleve, until his death in 1861. They had no children, and the house then passed to Cathcart's niece, Nancy M. Coffin. Are you serious? That's her name? Nancy M. Coffin. Who in turn willed it to her husband, Alfred M. Coffin. Alfred Coffin sold it to the Home for Aged People in Winchester in 1895, and Mary J. Gifford Smith bought it from them in the same year. My God, how many people own this house? It was sold in 1917 to Mr. and Mrs. William Hall, who owned the house until 1954. When they sold it to Arthur and Jessie Stetson, we bought it from the Stetsons, making a total of 7 families in the house over the past 181 years. Wow. On January Well, one January day in 1968, we were working on the large fireplace in the keeping room. There was a loose board bulging out above the fireplace, and I couldn't make it lay flat. This section had been plastered over and wallpapered. I tapped it and it sounded hollow. We scraped and peeled and eventually pried up the board. Inside was a small cupboard with shallow shelves, the type of storage area known as a parson's cupboard. It had been sealed from the looks of the wall for at least a century. A small section of the shelving had dried out and disintegrated. As we dug deeper, we found several small utilitarian objects that had fallen down behind the shelving in the wall. An ivory comb, a bottle, a pincushion, and a flint, all dating back to the first half of the 19th century. They were personal, everyday things that had probably gotten pushed into the corner of the cupboard and then fallen through the rotted area in the shelving. We put all these little objects on the top of a sea chest sitting in the room and left them out that night when we went to bed. It was clear. It was a clear moonlit night. It was a clear moonlit winter night. My wife Kay and I were sleeping on a mattress in the bedroom on one side of the keeping room, and our 1-year-old son was sleeping in the room on the other side. My wife woke me up at about 9 o'clock and asked if I would go check on our son, who was fussing a bit. I got up and started through the door of the keeping room. We had no curtains, and the room was bright in the moonlight, filled with that lovely gray-blue tone that comes from a full moon on a clear day. Let me change this shot here. Ooh, transition. It was a good... Okay. Suddenly, I froze. A little shaker rocking chair sitting a few feet from the fireplace was moving as if someone had just been rocking and then stood up. Oh, dude. You know, 1, 2, 3, each rock smaller than the last. As I peered into the room, trying to see if anyone was there, I had the definite feeling that I had startled someone rocking in the chair, and that the person had jumped up and hurried to the far corner of the room where the closet door stood open in the shadows. I don't like this. I don't like this. I have goosebumps. I stood still for, I guess, a couple minutes, looking into the corner to see if I could make out anything resembling a figure. I couldn't. But I just knew there was a person, or perhaps I should say presence, hiding from me in the dark. I was shaken, and since our son had quieted down, I went back to bed and told Kay what happened. "You left your freaking kid there with a ghost? Holy crap, man!" She got up and went to the doorway. The chair had stopped moving, but to my surprise, she too had a clear impression that someone was standing in the corner of the room. I hate this. Why do I do this to myself? Why am I reading these stupid stories? Yeah, right. Let's get through this one. We have 2.5 more pages. It wasn't threatening or evil, but it was a little scary. We didn't walk over to the corner or shine a light in the room out of some feeling. I suppose that we had already disturbed that presence, whatever it was, and that we should leave well enough alone. I couldn't help wondering if our discovery of the objects in the parson's cupboard had anything to do with this weird experience. As we worked on the house, we began to come across the name Abed Cathart in all sorts of odd places. Late one afternoon, I was busy with something downstairs, and I felt a sudden urge to go up to the attic, which was empty at the time. I got a flashlight, went up, and found myself crawling into a little cranny in the eaves. Nailed to the wall were several pieces of what looked like an old hat box, deep in a corner where there would ordinarily be no reason even to look. I pulled them off the wall, and on the cover of the hat box was written in bold letters, "Captain Abed Cathart." He just had an urge to go to the attic, and he did. I would fight that urge. This business of feeling impelled to look in certain places and then finding his name happened a number of times. Yeah, fight that freaking urge, man. Follow the urge to move. It was as if I were suddenly directed by a firm, friendly hand toward a specific spot. I remembered working one day on my son's room where he had taken up the linoleum, where we had taken up the linoleum. I noticed a seam in the floor and found myself digging down under the board. I popped it up, and sure enough, written on a long strip of paper were the words Captain Abed Cathart. He had buried his name all over the house. It was as if I were satisfying some old urge of his by uncovering it. You hear that? What the heck is that? It's like this. Sounded like an ambulance, and then it. You hear that? I have a feeling Seth or someone is outside the garage, trying to freak me out. There's a sound that's going. Ooh. And it's like dying down. It sounded like an ambulance, and it just kept happening. It sounded like a wolf or something, like right outside the door, whispering its howl at me. I'm getting very uncomfortable, and I'm freaking myself out now. Just read the stupid story. Ah, jeez, man. Transition. I was gonna say this is something my dad would do. My dad redid the whole house, and he put like secret compartments in the walls, and he hides things all over the place just so someone someday will find it. My dad would be a good ghost. I did some research on the man and found that he had made several whaling voyages to the Pacific between 1826 and 1838 on the Elizabeth Starbuck and James Lopper out of Nantucket, and on the Victory and the Young Phoenix out of New Bedford. These are all names of boats. He left Nantucket again in 1850 as captain of the Ontario. The ship was condemned at Tahiti, and its 700-barrel cargo of sperm oil was shipped to England. That's the sperm whale we're talking about. Don't be creeps in this chat. Abed bought the house when he was 28, 3 years after he and his wife Sally were married. He lived there for the remaining 44 years of his life and died a poor man. He left $5 apiece to his brothers Seth and David. Whoa, what's my brother's name? Seth. To his niece Nancy Coffin, he willed the house in the probate court inventory. He left her the furniture in front chamber and basement, appraised at $62. 6 large silver spoons and 18 small ones worth $18, and 1 rocking chair worth $3. It seems strange that a whaling captain had made so many trips should die with so little to his name, and he was apparently a good man. I have a clipping about a rescue he made from the James Lopper in 1839. A Japanese junk, the Koja Maru, was wrecked in January of that year and had been drifting for 6 months when it was sighted by Cathart. He took the 7 surviving crew members to Hawaii, where a certain Dr. Baldwin wrote, "It is due to the kindness and generosity of Captain C, generosity often met with among seafaring men, that not only were these suffering provided for food and necessary clothing, but were landed here with all of the movable property they had saved, including a considerable amount of money, all which, on their escaping the wreck, was put into the care of Captain C. But none was reserved by way of recompensation. I have a feeling that he was a modest man and probably a Quaker who just never made it big." That was a hard paragraph to read. All right, last 2 paragraphs. "My wife and I came to accept early on the presence of the benevolent personality in the house. It's a wonderful house, and we've never been uncomfortable in it, but we definitely were sharing in those early years. And there were times when Kay and I would see something just flitting around the edge of the doorway, crossing a passageway, or disappearing around the corner when we knew there was no one there. We would catch a fleeting peripheral glimpse of a back or a piece of clothing. I remember one time when I was just starting up the stairs and saw a woman in a dress stepping quickly through the hall into the next room. Dude, that's messed up. I didn't think anything of it, assuming it was Kay, and went up the stairs and into the room across the way. I said something to Kay, and when I got no answer, I looked upstairs and then down, only to find that she wasn't even in the house. Dude, Captain's got a lady over. The little shaker rocker has been something of an enigma too. As a rule, my memory about where and when I acquired antiques is excellent. As you know, we're dealers, and we do a brisk business in Nantucket pieces out of our shop on North Water Street. But I can't for the life of me remember where that rocker came from. At some point shortly after we moved in, I sold it, but I can't remember whom I sold it to either. And I don't seem to have any sales slips on it. It's almost as though I have a mental block about the little chair. At any rate, a woman on Quince Street called me a few years ago and said she had a little shaker rocker and wanted to get rid of it. She didn't tell me why. She just said she wanted it out. I went over to pick it up, and sure enough, there was our little chair. We have it back at our house now, and ever since it has been back, we've had no disturbances of any kind. I'll have to look that woman up and ask her why she wanted to get rid of it. That gave me chills. Wow, because the freaking captain wanted his chair back. That's why. Hello. All right. Well, that's going to do it for my first ghost story stream. Oh, dang, Jeff Smith. Thanks for $5. I admire your creativity, and the ghost stories aren't half bad either. Haha, keep up the good work. You have my support. Thank you very, very much, Jeff. That's awesome. I'm going to try to scroll up here and see everyone who's donated. Wagman, $10? Are you serious? Wow. Seriously? That's huge. For the next story, read, you need to get a smoke machine. Oh, I forgot! I totally forgot. Good thing you said that. Welcome to Nathan's Narrations, where I read true ghost stories. I have a smoke machine right here. Wag, thank you for reminding me. I had it all set up and I never used it. Let me read these other donations. Wow. Okay, that's it for now. This whole time. I know, I'm such a moron. Here, I'm going to record an intro for this with the smoke machine. Hang on. I forgot the smoke machine. Wait, hang on. Yeah, hang on. Welcome to Nathan's Narrations, where I read real life ghost stories from real life people and real life ghosts. That's my intro. I'll edit that into the video later. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I really like doing this, so I will be definitely doing it more. Oh, Tango Fandango, pay your rent, you bum. I will. Thank you to you. I sure will. Wow, $10. You guys have been beyond generous this evening. I really appreciate you guys helping me out. This is super nice. I hope you enjoyed this. I want to do it more. This pays for this is actually, the smoke machine smoke is actually pretty expensive. It's like $50 for this dumb bucket of juice. Thank you for watching. You'll pay for all my candles that I'll have to keep buying, and my smoke machine juice. I will be doing this every Wednesday. I don't want to read. I read almost like half the book, I think. So I'll do more next week on Wednesday, and maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do more often than just once a week. When should I do it? Should I do it once a week? I guess I could do it once a week, and then I can just edit them up and load them as videos for everyone who doesn't watch it live. It's going to take me a while. It's going to be a big file. Paw C. This Goosebumps episode is weird. Yeah, it's super weird, huh? Thanks, Stitch. Thanks for watching. Paw C. I will definitely be doing this more. I've been thinking about this for a few months. If you guys are going to, if any of you live in Florida or near Florida, in November I go to a convention as Keith and myself, and it's called Free Play Florida, and I'm going to be doing a sleepover panel late at night. Basically, it's not really a panel, it's basically we're just kind of like a sleepover campfire style ghost story night, and I've been wanting to do this, so I'm going to be doing this up until November, and then I'll do a live one with everyone at the convention. We'll all like get in pajamas and sleeping bags and tell ghost stories. And yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you are going to the convention in November, Free Play Florida, it's a really fun one. Keith will be there and I will be there. So thanks for watching. Smoke is easy. Dude, go to Retropalooza this year. If you go, I'll go. What is, I don't know if I know Retropalooza. I think I've heard of it. Read creepypastas. Creepypastas. Where's creepypasta? Missing comments. Sorry, guys. Is creepypasta a person? Walker, it is sort of some Kaufman stuff. Yes, CC Game CEO. Welcome, CC Game CEO. Thank you for being here. You are now a moderator. Do you like the smoke machine? I like the smoke machine. I gotta remember to use that next time. This morning, do you wear a wig when you play Keith, or just grow your hair longer? It's my real hair. I always do real hair for Keith. My hair is the same length right now. I just slick it back and hide it most of the time, but then when I do Keith, I make it come out. I live an ugly life every day just so I can do Keith. I don't like having my hair this long. I want it short, but I need it for Keith, so that's the way it will be. You farted on a ghost. The smoke machine is really nice. Thanks. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up now. What is going on? Oh, Altoid Yoda. Are you just getting in here? I read a bunch of ghost stories. Speaking of Florida, Key West is haunted as I've been there multiple times and have had many odd experiences. Anyway, this is great. Looking forward to more. Well, I gotta go to freaking Key West. Maybe I'll go there when I go down to the convention. Oh, creepy pastors are creepy internet stories. Oh, I thought you were saying creepy pasta. I thought that was someone's screen name in here. I will play Spot Goes to Hollywood sometime. That was the sequel, right? Oh, sorry you missed it, Yoda. Oh, check my Streamlabs. What? I see it from the AOL. I see it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you to Loic again. I see your Streamlabs donation. Thank you everyone who donated in the super chat and who donated to my Streamlabs. If you do want to donate, there's a link in the description that goes directly to me. It's my Streamlabs. It goes right to my PayPal, so I get all of that. If you guys like this show, it seems like a lot of people do like it. I got more donations than I ever get, so this helps me out a lot. I appreciate it. I'll do this every week. I'll read off spooky scare stories. I'll try to up the production value a little bit, see if I can get someone to switch the angles for me, so I don't have to do it myself. Get the smoke machine going, get better like background music and stuff. Right now this is pretty bare bones. It's just me sitting in front of two cameras with some candles next to me, but I guess that's all I really need. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you being here. You guys are always so nice to me. Thanks for being cool in the chat and not being annoying. I have a Patreon. I think it's in the description maybe. Oh, the Patreon's not in there. But if you just search Nathan Barnatt Patreon, I have a Patreon. It's usually in the description of most of my videos. You can donate to that if you want. I'll take it from anywhere. Thank you for wanting to donate. Don't make it too good. Low production quality has its own charm. Yeah, and that's usually what I'm good at. Most of my stuff has low production value. Every week. Yeah, all right. So every Wednesday, I think, is when I'm going to do this. Yeah, isn't this a cool lantern? I got this from IKEA, and I have it hanging in my room. And I always bang my head on it. And one night, dude, here's a ghost story about this. This thing, this is when I was dating a girl, and she came over and was sleeping over, and we walked in the room, and this thing was swinging like this for no reason. And the momentum wasn't stopping. It just kept going. It was so weird. We stared at it. We're like, what is happening? And it just happened out of nowhere. The windows were closed. There's no wind. It started moving. So I think this thing is haunted. It was pretty weird. And it was the first time a girl had been in my room in a long time. So maybe the ghost was like, what's happening? And it was mad. The ghost maybe likes me and didn't like that I had a girl over. Interesting, huh? Well, ghost, make your move. If you like me, do something about it. Don't come doorbell ringing. Yeah, I got this thing from IKEA. I like it a lot. Moose Teats. We're gonna be, the Twitch will be back for sure. I did this. I'll probably be doing this on Twitch as well, honestly. But I wanted to do it here to get the word out because most people will see it here on my main YouTube. So that's why I did this here. I'm not sure exactly where I'll be doing it, but it may end up going to my Twitch. But I just want everyone to know that this show exists and I will be doing this in the future every Wednesday. So thank you for watching and thank you for donating. If you haven't donated and can, I could use $1. I really mean it. I really, really could use it. So thank you for watching and helping and keeping me alive. But we were just saying something else about the lantern or Twitch. Oh, I was saying the conspiracy show will be on Twitch in August, I think, is when that will be back. We're waiting. Tom needs to move back down, and I got super busy in July with a bunch of junk, and our friend is visiting, so it's not really working out for Tom to come down and do more conspiracy show. But the Twitch Moose Teats will be going back up, and stuff will be happening. I know it's been quiet over there, but once he's here, it'll be easier to do. That will be the most consistent thing. Between this and the conspiracy show, we'll have a lot going on. So, but thank you for coming over here and watching. I don't know if you missed a lot of it. My Twitch is beyond_worlds. If you guys don't know, I do a lot of game stuff there and other shows. Twitch.com/that beyondworlds. You're the man, huge fan. Oh, thanks, Game Collector. Thank you. Whoa, CC Games. Oh, thank you. Keith is tough enough. Thank you for that donation. I really appreciate it. Yeah, $1 from all my subscribers would be 360,000. You know, I went up 2,000 subscribers in the past couple of days, and that's a lot. I've been stuck at 360,000 subscribers for over a year. It's been driving me crazy, and I've been super hyper focused on the amount of subscribers I have because I would never break 360. I'd almost hit 361, and then I'd go down to like 359. It's like, what's happening? It would go up and down, up and up and down. And then I did that thing with Wrestle Talk. I did the video with Wrestle Talk, and I went up 1,000 subscribers in one day, and then I went up another 1,000. So now I'm at 362. So I'm doing pretty good. Did I put you in timeout, Martinez? I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, Frank. Bye, Alex. Thanks again, CC Games. Thanks everyone who donated. Okay, everyone. I'm gonna say thank you to all the people who donated. Stay tuned. You'll probably just hear my voice. I don't mean stay tuned. I mean sit still. Stay still. Here we go. So everyone who donated tonight, I'm gonna read all your names because I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thanks, Civ. Thanks for being here. All right. Hang on one second while my internet loads. super chat was pretty crazy tonight. So we had Loic gave $10 in the super chat. Then he also donated to my stream. As we have Flying Overchart donating, Omni / Evan S, Rico Volley, Trickstar, Asterath, Rico Volley again, Carl Foles, Indeed Joe, Brett Bell, Rico Volley again, Cake Pews, Wagman, Jeff Smith, Tango Fandango, and CC Game CEO. And that recent one from you know who, I don't know if you want me to say your name, the one with the AOL email, thank you. I don't want to say your name out loud because some people don't like that. But thank you, everyone who donated. This has been really nice of you. Don't worry about it, Kitsune. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. That's all I can say. That's all I really need is you watching. That's a payment in its own. Wow, this has been almost 2 hours and 45 minutes, this stream. Thank you for being here, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up now. I'll take your comments, Pa. Thank you. Regoing Ostrich as the next horror story. Yeah, there's no words in that. Thanks again, Loic. You're the best. Thank you all to all my mods and all my friends. Moose Teats. Are you not a mod? Why isn't Moose Teats a mod? You're a mod now. Got a lot of mods. Oh, thanks for the tip. Happy to support. Thanks, Rusty. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Boreal Aurora Steamed. You always miss it. Or was it you that missed the last one too? Yeah, we need to cut Tom's hair. Well, I'm going to end the stream. You can watch it when it ends as a video if you want. It was pretty fun. Oh, you're a mod on Nayplay. That's right. I rarely stream on this channel. No, you're a mod on my Nayplay, I think, Aurora. But now you're a mod here too. Cool. Thanks, everybody. All right, I'm going to end it. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you probably before next Wednesday. But don't forget, next Wednesday, Nathan's Narrations will be back. More ghost stories. Bye.